Hello, everybody. Nathaly here with Unicorn Properties. Today we have Amanda all the way from Seattle, all the way in the West Coast. And we're excited because she's one of our leaders over there. Very driven. I love you because you're always running the calls and, always like ahead of the game. So thanks for being with us.
Oh, thank you so much. Yeah, no, I'm super excited to be here today and just, to share ideas and hopefully can, spark something for whoever is watching today. The whole idea of being here is that we can share and you can take something that, hopefully help you take your business to the next level.
Amazing. And for those that don't know you, because we in our community already knows you, but for the new people out there, who's Amanda? And, where are you
Yeah.
from? Where are you at right now?
Yeah, I don't know if you guys pick up, there is an accent. So I am originally from Brazil, but I've been here in Seattle specifically. That was the first state that we moved into from Brazil with my family. And I've been here for 24 years. So it is definitely, home for me as well, even though I still consider Brazil as a home. But been living here for all this time, went to, school, graduated college, did the corporate world a little bit of that, and then found myself here in the real estate and absolutely love it. And yeah, I don't think I could have been doing anything else than this. And if you asked me a few years ago, I was very happy with what I was doing before in the tech industry.
Oh, amazing. So, what was your career back then before you shifted to real estate? Because you recently are jumping in the pool full
Yeah,
on.
yeah, I
Okay.
know. So yeah, so like, obviously a family of immigrants and all of that. So my family all have like small businesses. So at a young age, I kind of did that a little bit as I was going through college. I had a cleaning business and all of that. And then as soon as, short after I graduated, I actually kept with my business because it was going really well. And funny enough, I was working with realtors, I was actually getting their homes ready to go to the market. It's kind of funny, like full circle. And but my mom, she was always like, hey, you went to school, you should go corporate, live that work for me, you know. So then I was just like, okay, I guess I'm making the shift. I got my first like, tech consulting. If you guys know Seattle, we have some big companies here, and there's a lot of consulting companies. So I was, hired by a small consulting firm in here and started working with Microsoft as my client. And I did that for the last 13 years. So, change change consulting, but I always end up back with, working with Microsoft because that was kind of a lot of my experience, was making good money as not a millionaire or anything by any stretch, but but money enough that allow us to have a nice home and travel, enjoy things that we like about life, eating out and things like that, and I thought that that's what I was going to do forever and just continue to like, be a VP or someday because, I did have goals. But when I left the industry, I was just as a senior program manager, managing a couple of accounts and people. Had people in my group that was, from different parts of the world. It was a great experience. So I think like, when I feel like I bump into real estate. It was not like something I was thinking about it for a long time. I had some friends that were like, "Yeah, I think you're gonna do great in real estate," and I just used to be so fearful. Like, I don't want to sell anything. Like, that's the worst feeling that I have. Like that pressure that when I meet someone, I just need to come with a script and start, trying to close them. And so I didn't want to do that. But, through the pandemic and rethinking what I wanted to do next, I thought like, well, let me go get my license. As a lot of people that may be listening here, right? Like, maybe I will do this on the side. Let's see what happens. And I started exactly like that, part-time. But I have to say that I did have something that maybe helped me stand out a little bit. I had a plan. Like, from day one, when I decided to do real estate, I committed that I was going to do for a full year alongside my other job. And didn't matter if it was good or if it was bad. I was going to do a whole year. And then from there, decide what's next for me. And so every little minute that I had outside of my other job, it was invested in real estate. So I felt like I had two full-time jobs because I was pouring a lot in this business and I fell in love, but I was not financially in a place to make that switch. So that's a little bit of kind of how I got into the real estate world.
No, that's amazing because you bring all your experience, on the program management side, and then when you run your business in real estate, it's pretty structured and, you know what you're
Absolutely.
doing and what's next and very methodic.
Yeah, yeah.
How those skills transfer, like what would be the number one skill that you kind of transfer over that every realtor out there should kind of at least understand more? Because sometimes when we're in real estate, we do everything from A to Z, everything over our business. We do the social media stuff, we do the CRM stuff, we do the people talking, and then you're like, what do I focus on? And
Yeah,
sometimes it's
yeah.
all over the place.
No, I think definitely my organization skill. I mean, I was a manager, right? So, like, organizing my schedule, my people's schedule, and deadlines, and, because my background is in project management. So, I always kind of, even in life, I use that a lot as a way of organizing myself. Like, what's the end goal? Now, let me walk backwards and plan that, right? So, you need to have a goal in mind. You get in this business. It is how many homes you want to sell, or it's how much money you want to make, or how you want to be known in your community. So I had the vision of like, of what I was trying to accomplish. And then I kind of, walk backwards. And as you said, when you get on this industry, it is overwhelming, especially if you don't have the experience of running your own business before, right? Which a lot of people do not have that, right? I used to go to a 9 to 5 job, and then, everybody is just someone else is your boss, and they're telling you what to do. So you just show up, do the work, and you leave. And now you come here, you have all of these things that you need to, decide where do you go first. So I think it was just like, being organized a little bit with my time. Time was pretty much everything I had, right? And I needed to know how I wanted to invest that time. In the beginning, I didn't do a ton of things that would cost me money. And I think that sometimes the shiny object for a lot of agents, they come in, either they feel overwhelmed that they need to spend a lot of money because they're looking maybe at another agent that are in the place where they want to be, and advertising and other things, and then or they just get like sidetracked with all the things that they need to do. So pick one or two things, and just get really good at that and that's kind of like it was me in the beginning. Like, I started doing open houses, and I did open houses every weekend, no matter what. There was no more family time during the day on a weekend, because that was the time I had with my family. Mind you, at the time I wasn't yet married, but was engaged and had two-step kids. So, our life quite changed, so weekends, was not anymore we do whatever we want. I was working all day, and then family time just became an evening thing. So
Mhm.
there was some compromises that I had to do, and that was something that I talked with my family even before I decided to take my license. Just like, things are going to change. Do we want to go this route, right? Because it won't be the same, and it hasn't been the same. But they supported me, and that's all I needed. But yeah, so it's been an incredible ride. Not an easy one, not gonna sugarcoat that. But if you don't have, again, that goal, that vision of what you want to do, this business will kick you left and right, and you're gonna be like, I don't even know where I go to.
Yeah, no, I totally understand. And sometimes we don't allocate the time that is necessary because we're scatterbrained. If you don't have that
Mhm.
plan, it's easy to focus on a lot of things and not finish any at the end of the day. And I think many agents in the real estate space are in that, like, what do I do next? And that's why they look for good team leaders and good groups to guide them through that process. Because, when you have all the freedom in the world, you're like, what do I do with my time? And then your time goes quickly and sometimes wasted. So for the Seattle market, like for the international space, who moves there, or how does it work in the buyer side of things? Because for our podcast, we were all about international. I want to see, what
Mm.
the trends are going, where people are coming from, and where they're moving from Seattle to where, usually for vacation, homes, and things like that.
Yeah. So obviously there's a lot, state to state, relocation, right? Because, having Microsoft, Amazon, Starbucks, and they're all, and people might be coming here from the many consulting companies that we have to work for one of these big organizations. So, you see state to state, I would say, there actually are actually quite a lot of people from Canada as well, right? It's our border here with the US, coming down to Seattle with job transfers or just getting their first job in here. So I would say majority of the time it has related with jobs if someone is coming here,
Mhm.
not, probably the second one will be family, but most of the time it's because they got a job transfer, especially if you are used to like being in a warmer climate for you to come here, probably you're getting a big pay increase to come to the
You have
cold.
to.
And I think, as well, a little bit when talking international, funny enough, I actually am working with a client that they're being transferred from Brazil, but they actually went to Canada first, and then now they're coming to the US. So sometimes there's that transition that they don't come straight, here from their first move. There, I would say probably Asian. I'm just kind of putting that as a big, the Asian continent, like, because there's so many countries, I feel like they're still like heavily one of the biggest, migrating, into the US and here to Seattle as well, for work. It's, there's a big population in here. They're smart people, right? So they are getting, and they love the tech side of things. So I see a lot of that coming, into Seattle for again, more for the work purpose. Now, leaving, or maybe, you know obviously can be for job related, but what I see more when thinking about, like, a vacation home, people are always looking for somewhere a little bit warmer, right?
Mhm.
If you've been to Seattle, our summers are beautiful, but the winter is real in here. It gets cold and rainy, so people want to escape that, especially if they have hybrid jobs or they work from home, right? So that they can be anywhere. So you will see that a lot going, Central America. I feel like there's a big surge right now. One of the countries that I keep hearing about amongst even friends as well, it's Panama. I actually was like, almost they're saying it was like a mini version of Miami. So I don't know if if you hear anything, but it's starting to get a lot of notice because for a while, Costa Rica was like, I feel like it was the big hit here
Mhm.
in our area that I would hear people buying land and building or buying ready. And Mexico from different places. I know some people are doing Tulum as well, starting to either build from scratch or just kind of buying ready and doing Airbnb so that while they're not there, they can still make a little money. But yeah, Panama, never been there, but I've been hearing, like, I had at least three friends that are already considering figure it out. There's a whole process of you even becoming a citizen there so that you can buy a little cheaper, and obviously the US dollar will go, farther in there. But I would say outside of, like, Central America and even a little bit of South America that I've been hearing, you'll be like Dubai. Like, I actually also had some people that were like, because they work on the tax side of here, and then there are some opportunities in there so that they're actually, companies are, covering and paying for everything. Sometimes it's not even like a full move, maybe it's just even for a year, but
Mhm.
that they're moving, up in Dubai.
Well, that's amazing because I mean I love everything that I like to follow the patterns of where people go or coming from. And with that comes the real estate needs that, we have the opportunity to send over to Panama because if even if you haven't been in Panama, we can still do those business, or send those referrals over that way. So
Absolutely.
what do you think local realtors in Seattle are missing out on? Like when they don't know, oh, we don't have the international resources that we have or that you
Mhm.
have experience on your end. Do you see agents there that, care, or is a busy market in Seattle as is that keeps you
I
busy?
guess it depends, right? And I feel like this answer in a little bit, like, as far, I think the market, it's busy everywhere. Where are you located in that? Meaning, and not I'm talking about the part of the country, just like, as we know, on which is a crazy truth that, 20% of the realtors in my market, in other markets all around the US, are the ones that are making the most money. And the other 80%, I don't know where they at, right? You bump maybe into a bad client and you have a bad experience, and then that pulls you back, that then you're contemplating about life, and the other ones are just going, like whenever I might maybe here locally, might be talking to an agent and they already start a conversation like, oh, the market is tough, right? And I'm like, is it? Because I'm doing great. Like, I already did better than I did last year, right? So your mindset is super important in that. So I do feel like, who you're aligning with, because you'll feel the difference as you talk with the agents that are more, pessimist versus, optimist, and
Yeah.
you can tell the difference. And I have to say, if you're too pessimist, I'm going to be talking with you very little because I don't want you to take my energy out because I am on a roll right now. But I don't think I hear a ton of international, unless maybe a little bit like, some specific agents that are maybe they have a background like on Chinese or, Korean or something like that, because they do deal with, maybe a client that is moving here, or maybe the client already lives here, but the parents are moving from another country to be close to family. So I feel like that they, maybe talk a little bit more international, but in general, I feel like either that agents are so solar focused, which is not a bad thing, right? To be focused on your market and
Mhm.
whatnot. But I don't know if they're just open, just like, hey, yes, you need to focus local because you need to get your deals here, but just, not closing yourself up so much that you miss out in opportunities just because it's outside of the US, right? You can still send a referral out. So I feel like not a lot of agents use that, and I don't hear that on a regular basis about international, locally.
Mhm. And since, well, I think Seattle is a good hub for the tech space and everything that people will aim to go there as much probably as San Francisco. Um,
Hmm.
how do you foresee the market for real estate? I think it's shrinking a little bit on the agent count, I feel, in the US overall, because at the beginning during COVID, I feel it was easier to do transactions. And now as the market gets tighter, like you were saying, maybe the 20% will take over the whole market because you need some endurance to go through these times. What would you say to those agents that are maybe thinking of quitting altogether? Like, maybe they need some mentorship, maybe they need some guidance because they haven't get, there yet in their mindset.
Yeah, yeah. And I mean, like, I would say, like, the first thing in this business, and maybe in any business that you own, right? There will be competition, there will be more than one, right? And I also don't focus too much, like, uh, who are my list of the people that I want to pass or compete. Like I have my goals. And if my goals is passing other people or not, I don't care. I have my goals of where I want to be, right? And how I want to be recognized. So I think, having that goal, and that those goals will change, right? It will change with time. My goal this year, it's very different than last year, right? Hopefully your goal is increasing, improving as you go, but your mental is going to be like, you're going to have to create that tough skin, and because you will get rejected. I don't think like, it's a common thing, and I think it's just like, I take it more like, I used to be more like, oh my gosh, they don't want to work with me. Like, what did I do and things like that. And now I feel like this is great. It's probably wasn't meant to be. And, there will be someone else that wants my time. And
Mhm.
that's okay, right? So I think it's just like, not, I feel like when you have a need, and you're feeling like, oh, I really need to close the deal. And I've been there. I'm not saying this like judging anybody because I've been there. But when you're like on that need mode, it's almost like when someone walks on that open house or you talk to someone, they can touch your need and they feel suffocated by it. And then they want to step away. But when you just kind of like, hey, I'm here and I am not an aggressive, realtor. I am very like, you want to work with me, great. You don't want to work with me, great. It's a win-win wherever I look. Obviously, there's been times I know I'm getting interviewed as other people are getting interviewed. Um, but I just go and do my best. And if it works for that seller, great.
Mhm.
And but yeah, but just going back, like your mindset is going to be the most important thing. So like, yes, if you can surround you, not can, you should surround
Mhm.
yourself, with like-minded people, with people that actually wants to see you win. Because unfortunately, as well, this business, some people that are making, and closing deals and things like that, they don't want to share, right? Because they think if they share what they're doing, you're going to be their next competition. And I'm very grateful that that's not the mindset that we have in our group, because we want to, to share what we do, because most of the time you're not going to do everything that I do, and you're not going to do how I do it. But nonetheless, I don't mind sharing everything and how I do things, because not everything is going to fit. We are different personalities, and but in the end of the day, we just want to see you win. And I used to be like, going some of the calls that we are, and then hearing some wins when I had no wins, but that inspired me to think like, oh, my deal's just coming,
Yeah.
my clients is just coming, instead of being like, oh man, another week I don't have a win. That energy, it's everything in how you're going to do a business. So I recommend, if you don't have a mentor, find a mentor, find a group that is growing, that a group that wants to invest in you. And I'm not talking about to give you a lead, because I personally, I'm not a big fan of that, because I don't think they're helping you be a business owner. And they're going to take a big cut of the hard working you're going to do. So don't just ask someone to fish for you, but ask someone to teach you how to fish. So then you're going to learn and improve your skill set.
And I like the mindset of that because with that, I mean, for newer agents or agents that are in the market, that probably seems a little bit slow for them. Just align with
Hmm.
those, leaders or help mentors that, as you mentioned, for for the program that we have now in EXP for co-sponsoring. I'm excited to partner up with you on this because
Yeah.
or person in Seattle. I'm like, I haven't, I've been in Seattle once when I went for a cruise to Alaska. I think that's the only time because it's chilly and I'm like a summer person. So I choose
Yep.
the sun. So if it gets a little cloudy, I'm in Chicago right now. I'm like, I'm out of here. Okay, where can I go? But for the people who are committed to Seattle and they want to stay in the business, but they are a little bit lost. What can they reach out to you for? How can you help them or maybe guide them through this, slow market, which is, like you said, is what you just define it to be. But for some that define the market slow, or they're like, maybe I need a transition, maybe I need a change, maybe I need to look up to somebody to just guide me through the process while I figure things out. What can they reach out for you, and how can you help them locally in that way for the market that you're in?
Yeah, no, absolutely. Obviously, on somewhere in the descriptions, you guys will have my contact info and things like that. So definitely, whichever I reach out, I am on social media, so you can find me, anywhere. Send me a DM, my phone number, everything, that a way to find me, you find my information, because I definitely keep it out there and available. And I've talked with so many agents, either if they joined my group or not, because I am a firm believer that sometimes you just need that little push, right? And you just need that little guidance. So if it's anything from like creating a little business plan for you, like so what is the next thing you need to do. I mean, like I can put your calendar ready if that's what you need. Now, are you going to go do the work? That's another question. But I will be able to help according to your need. I always feel like, understanding your day to day, what do you do, what's your life, kids, no kids, I will be able to give you ideas in how you can, reach out more into your community, lean in, get to know people. Like I do so many things with my community. I feel like, I want to be known. And I think that's something as an agent, like, especially if you knew, or maybe if not much has been happening, you're already feeling self-sabotage anyways. You're like, oh, nobody's want to work with me, I don't have anything. So like getting to be known, like being someone that people want to be around, it's very important. And then business will just come because of that. So I am really about like adding things that you already enjoy and
Mhm.
how that can also translate, with real estate. And like you love to travel, and this is like beautiful. You got the international real estate together, and you're going to places, and you're going to continue to go to many more. So I think it's just aligning some of those things so this can be fun as well.
Mhm. Yeah, I feel like sometimes we get stuck in our own, mental cage on what's possible. Being local is super important to be focused on your market because at least you focus on one thing and then take it to the next level, or you
Yeah.
can duplicate that. But without, if you're too dispersed, maybe because I do know some agents that have probably licensed in two different states within the US,
Mhm.
but then they don't maximize either, and they're like, with this, at least with EXP and the Wolfpack, do you want to share a little bit more on what it's like to be, based in Seattle, maybe, but also
Yeah,
operating all US, and how are you guys working on
absolutely.
it? Mhm.
I mean, I've been, as I say, like, in meetings and even before, like, I was amazed when I just joined, because I've been with EXP and the Wolfpack from day one when I got my license. So I don't have the burnout of other experiences. But, and I don't say this, to sell it, but I loved like everything from the calls that we have, like I feel like I've grown as a person more than I did in my business. That's just a result. But, because of like the mentality of the people around it, even though we're just doing Zoom calls, but it's just so positive, so inviting. I feel like a family. There's so many people that are became brothers and sisters to me, that I met after talking for a whole year before I even met them in person. But that connection was there of just support and help and wanting to see you win, even if they were in a different market. Just getting on a call with you or me getting on a call with others is just been this like give and take that has been so beautiful. And then, yes, I have my local group in here that has been growing. We do have like in-person meeting every week. But then we also obviously join the group calls. I love my ladies calls, that we have just for us. And I feel like that's so important because we do business different, right? And just being able to come together and just being raw and honest. And so that is like definitely one of my favorite calls that we have every week. And then I'm always looking forward to our in-person events when we come all together as we're coming up in October. I cannot wait to see the group because I mean I love to learn. Yes, there's a part of learning there, but I most of it is to reconnect with the family. So
Yeah, and then your group, your downline is also in more than Washington, right? Like you're
oh yeah, oh
everywhere.
yeah. We like my second biggest group, it's in Arizona.
Okay.
And they're growing locally there. Then we have Florida. I have few in Canada, which is like I feel like I am a global leader.
Yes, you are.
And yeah, Florida, Oregon, Texas. Yeah, there's a little bit spread out here and there, but it is pretty cool of what you can do, and there's no limit. And this is what I feel about this business and this group and this company. There's no limit. You limit yourself, but there's no limit of how much money you can make, how big your group can be, how much you can give back. That's all up to you.
No, that's amazing. And I wanted to thank you for, that openness and then the invitation to have, you're locally in Seattle. You can assist and help agents that are maybe during that transition that probably they don't know what's next or they outgrew where they are and maybe they want to take it to the next level. Since you're physically
Absolutely.
there and you do, in-person meetings, that's super helpful for them to stay connected, even if, they ask me about Seattle, that you're my go-to person for that. So
Yeah, no, absolutely. Will be an honor to help whoever, it's wanting to grow and aligned with our vision and our mindset.
awesome. So just to wrap up, where can people find you online? I know with your name, but we'll put everything in the
Yeah,
description. But
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. I'm, Instagram, you probably will see a lot more of my day-to-day stuff. And then, with my YouTube channel as well, just really wrapping up with having, podcasts, interviews, and then some just, quick tips here and there for you as well as you continue to grow in your business. But yeah, there will be links of like, scheduling a call, get on my calendar, send me a DM. whichever way it's easier, we'll figure it out a time and, however we can help.
Awesome. So thank you again, Amanda, for your time, all your knowledge and your dedication, because it's very inspiring to be,
Oh, thank
working
you.
alongside with more people like you.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it. Thanks for everyone that took the time to watch. Don't stay stuck to be stuck. There's so much you can do in this business. So reach out and we'll chat and how we can help you take to the next level.
Thank you. Thank you. Hopefully you enjoyed this episode. Our intention is for you to get inspired and just take your business to the next level. We just share tips, and if anything like we share resonates with you, you want to take your business global, you want to expand to other cities and states without the effort of incorporating every single state, and also you want to expand to other countries, you might want to chat with us. Maybe we can help you doing the step-by-step plan to get to that goal. If you want to have a group call between three of us or just have a one-on-one with me, I'm happy to connect. My calendar will be in the link below. And also, you can always text us or call us, and we'll be able to chat more about what are the needs that you have right now in your business and how we can cater to that with our platform. That's it for today. Stay tuned, and we'll see you guys in the next video.